Okay, we're all here to what? Oh, sorry. Okay, we are all here to discuss the 3.5 mil property tax that's on the ballot next week, Tuesday, March 5th. Let me emphasize, this is a renewal tax. This is no new tax. This has been around for 40 years. So we're just voting to renew it. It's so important so that it's not only an investment in our school system, but it's an investment in our community and the continuance of our economic stability and future growth. So it is important that we get out the word out that we need to renew this tax. So this money is being used for essential resources within our schools. So we have so much momentum in the school system right now, and Dr. Brown is doing just a fantastic job, and I've seen for myself everything that he's doing, and we made so much progress. The momentum is going forward. Let's not go back. Let's not go backwards. Renew this tax. It's just a renewal.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. I wanted to say basically it's important that we're able to support this 3.5 mil renewal. This is something that we're going to say this a number of times. It has been on the books for 40 years. This is monies that have been able to support the district through numbers of issues that we've had to confront over the decades. And as most of us know, we have historically been an underfunded district. This is essential to how we continue to operate. This particular tax yields about $11 million per year for us. That's $11 million per year. And when I arrived here in 2022, we talked about the whole notion of how we're going to build programs. So we're having conversations about building dual enrollment and expanding that. That process is happening now and is already taking place. We're talking about potentially an early college program in one of our schools. We're talking about expanding options for our kids in terms of school choice. We're talking about how we continue to build our magnet programs. All these things are things we anticipated doing going into the future. So this is about building. The last thing we want to be in a position to do is then to begin to dismantle. That's the opposite of what we should be doing as a community. So I urge you to continue to support this. These funds are essential to how we become the 21st century district that we want to be, that our kids deserve to be. And we should be on par with any other district in this state. I'll really give a quick example of how we compare to one of our neighbors here in the district, looking at what Birmingham does in terms of their numbers of mills and things of that nature. Now, mills are not a mill in every district, so I won't get into the craziness of that. But Birmingham's about 30 mills. We're nowhere near that. So if we're talking about decreasing the numbers of funds we actually have, we're falling behind some of our competitors throughout the state to make our kids solvent, to make them be able to compete globally. This is not about positions. This is about essential services that our kids need. We're talking about transportation. We're talking about infrastructure. Many folks have seen our buildings and the types of things we've had to do and the cost of construction that's taken place over the course of the last couple of years. You know that we had a renewal that was, we had an ad valorem tax that was passed in 2020, completely unrelated to this, that was supposed to help us build our infrastructure. That was going to yield about $400 million for us to build schools. That same $400 million right now only gets us about $260 million. So now we're in a position we're talking about decreasing the numbers of funds we've had to be sustainable for all these decades. That's not the direction we need to be going, and I urge you to continue to support this. Get out and vote on Tuesday, and know that our kids are the ones who need this. This is not about the adults. This is about programming and building on the legacy that we're trying to establish long-term for not only today's kids, but our future kids coming over the course of the next 30 years. Thank you.
Good afternoon. And again, I want to extend a thank you to the Chamber and the business groups that are in here today for supporting this 3.5 mil tax as far as the renewal. Mayor Reed and Mayor Stone, us all being in this, Dr. Brown, as a community. I think that is essential that we understand that we are all moving and growing together. And as Dr. Brown says, the removal of this tax will have a direct and negative impact immediately on the children. In education, we're taught to look at data and let data drive what we do every single day. And as an educator, that data represents a child. Just like these dollars will represent what we are able to do or not able to do for a child, for a teacher, for a paraprofessional, an administrator. It will have a direct and negative impact if this tax is not renewed. It will go off of the books in September of '24. That is immediate for us. As we are beginning budget discussions and unit discussions right now today with our CSFOs, how do we plan for the future? Taking $1.2 million out of the Pike Road education budget is going to be devastating to us. We as public educators, we don't have a means of regenerating money. Dr. Brown cannot charge tuition. We cannot go out and levy anything as a school district. It is up to you, the citizens, our municipalities and our counties to do that. And you have appropriately done that right now with this 3.5 meals. And again, like Dr. Brown said, it's been on the books for almost 40 years. I don't understand or see the need to take that off. We have explained that as a $200,000 home, this 3.5 meals will equate to about $6 a month. In your home, in your budget, that doesn't seem like a lot. Collectively, for us, you see the negative impact that it would have if it's not put on. So again, I encourage you, I implore you to please get out, exercise your right to vote, and know that when you're voting, you are either gaining momentum for, like Dr. Brown said, for us to continue to move forward, or we are going to be regressing. As we're bringing things into Maxwell Air Force bases, we're doing all of the things within our area. Why would we stop and say, that's really not what we want to do? We are building the future leaders in every single department that sits in front of me today. We're doing that right now. That's my kindergartners. That's my fifth graders. That's these seniors that are about to graduate. Again, please get out and vote March the 5th and understand what this vote can do for all of our schools. Thank you.
Well, good morning, and again, I would echo what Dr. Langford and Dr. Brown have said, that it is extremely important for us to acknowledge where we prioritize schools. And I think one of the things that we oftentimes forget is that this particular vote is really just about affirming what those who are in leadership are doing. It is about saying we want to take advantage of the opportunities that are in front of us. We want to be prepared for the opportunities that are in front of us. We celebrate, and rightfully we should state our appreciation to the Chamber for its leadership, the job growth that we are having in the state of Alabama, particularly even in our region. We've done well. But we also realize that there's an entire sector of employable people and jobs that we're not even in the marketplace for yet. And that is as we begin to grow our knowledge-based recruitment opportunities. And you think about that knowledge-based recruitment opportunities, the most critical component for being able to go out and recruit that kind of industry is to be able to show that you have a labor force that is ready and prepared and able to take advantage of that. That's why this is so important. If you think about per capita income, you think about the dollars that are turned over in our economy and how they make a difference in quality of life. You think about parks and recreation investments. You think about city services. Think about what we're so excited about the future in Pike Road and all the things that we are looking forward to as it relates to our community growing. It's directly related to our school system's health and our school system's capacity. We're very thankful for the great leadership we have, the committed teachers we have, the families that are engaged in our school system. When you've had the privilege that I have to be around when a school system was an idea, and see it now with 2,600 plus kids in the Pike Road schools. And you realize the energy and the excitement of those young people and those families. You see those cars backed up, stacked along the roads waiting to drop their kids off at school. You know those people believe. And all we need to do now with this is to just say, let's continue that momentum. This is not something that anybody's trying to mislead or misinform anybody about. Matter of fact, you can go to the Pike Road Schools website, see the exact details as it relates to what this means. We're here today just to inform you that it is important, to ask you to give great thought to what this means to our communities, to think about where we go as we continue the success we're having and grow that success for tomorrow's jobs, as we fill those needs by inspiring our kids to reach their greatest potential. It's just a simple thing that we do every day to make that happen. And by continuing what we have here and saying yes to this amendment, you have the opportunity to do that. And we're certainly not here to tell anybody how to vote. That is not our role. But it is our role to reinforce how important it is to have these resources and to let you know how this is just a continuation and an affirmation. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank all of our educational leaders. I want to thank our chamber president, chamber board, and other leaders that are here. City council president, C.C. Calhoun. Also, I want to thank him for being here. As the mayor of the city, I just echo what's already been said about the importance of this vote on Tuesday. It's so necessary for us to understand what goes into reaffirming the good work that's being done in our schools all throughout this county. And I think when we consider the small amount of resources to continue this moving forward, we want to make sure through this collaboration that we have, but also through other organizational leaders throughout our county, that this does not go overlooked. And as has been said, this is a vote of support for what we have funded our schools over the last 40 plus years. This is a vote to renew that. And I look at it with a different three-letter word that's been said here, spelled TAX. I look at it as ROI. And when you consider what we are investing into our schools and what is needed, this is necessary for us to maintain the competition that we have with other cities, other counties, not only across the state, but across the Southeast and across the country. When you look at the fact that Montgomery led the state in job growth just a couple of years ago in terms of economic development announcements, that doesn't happen without the school districts playing a big role in that. That doesn't happen without the leadership and the resources being a factor. And so for us, it is something that has magnified our ability to really drill down into what's possible for our students, our parents, teachers, and staff who do so much each and every day in our public schools. So we want to make sure that each and every person within the Montgomery County voting block goes out and votes yes. I want to highly encourage you to vote yes for this amendment. We want you to vote yes to renew this call and this opportunity for us to show that what has been done over the last few years will continue moving forward. And we know that anytime you're talking about a small amount of dollars, that may be relative depending on who you are. But I want to look at it from this perspective. For us to become the type of county and the type of region we want to be, it starts with public education. It starts with our investment. It starts with our commitment to public education, each and every facet that we want to improve on. And we've done very well with that. I believe that we can do even better. But we're on the strong road of progress from Pike Road to Montgomery in doing just that. And that's because of the commitment that we've had from voters and residents in Montgomery County who see this as an opportunity to continue the positive progress that we've had, but also from leaders from the public sector to the private sector who also understand those opportunities. The partnership is here. We want to continue to make that strong. We want to continue to support that. And that's why we want to ask you to not only support this amendment, to support this renewal, something that we have been doing in this community for decades, but we also want you to think about what that return on investment will mean. Not just what it may cost, but what we will get back. What will those results yield? And I believe investing in our students is the most important investment we can each have in our collective cities of Montgomery and Pike Road, and then the collective county of Montgomery. So again, I want to thank the Chamber for your leadership and your commitment. I want to thank our superintendents for doing the great work that they've been doing, leading their respective bodies. I want to thank Mayor Stone for his collaboration as well in Pike Road. And again, our city council president, C.C. Calhoun, I want to thank him as well for his support. But most importantly, on Tuesday, we do want you to go out and vote, and regardless of who you're voting for and what race. I think the one thing that we can all agree on, we want to vote the same when it comes to supporting public education in Montgomery County. So we ask you to go out and do that on Tuesday, March 5th, and make sure you tell a friend or neighbor or church member and ask them to do the very same thing. Thank you.
It'll be very quick, enough has been said, so, I always believe in athletics and support people. So I want to end this with a little cheer. Can you guys help me with a little cheer? Repeat after me. Give me a V. V. Give me an O. O. Give me a T. T. Give me an E. E. Give me an Y. Y. And an E. E. And an L. And an S. S. Vote yes. Vote yes. Thank you.
Take any questions?
Anybody have questions? Everybody's available after. Andre, you want to do it now?
Real quick, just talk a little bit if we can. For so long, sometimes it's a solo that a certain district will have to come to the mic and try and get their message across. How great is it to have a chorus? This collaboration that you all have, does it make it any easier to sell your message?
Absolutely.
I will jump very quick. Yes, it is made a lot easier, I think, when you have all of us, singing the same song about public education, because it impacts, again, so much. And again, not even just in Montgomery County. This is a county initiative, but Montgomery County is the heartbeat of Central Alabama, and what we do impacts this entire region. And it's important for us to set the right example about how we value public education and where we prioritize supporting it moving forward. We understand the benefits of it. We just have to continue to make those commitments to it. And I think having partners both from our superintendents as well as mayors being involved, our city council and our chamber makes it a lot easier, because we all have an audience maybe that we can reach a little bit easier than maybe someone else can. And to be able to speak to that and be able to speak to the importance of how it impacts all of us relative to our communities is just a lot simpler to do. It's a lot easier to do when you have multiple people singing the same song and being on the same page where that's concerned. So having this type of collaboration cannot be underestimated because you see it goes across jurisdiction lines. It's about the kids, and it's about ultimately our future as a region.
The Montgomery superintendent mentioned, sorry, and you
I
can
just want to add one piece to this that I think people don't know about or don't think about. So this particular tax, this particular vote, is really a part of what we have to do by state law to meet the 10 mil minimum, which is a technical term for everybody. But in reality, there's a double side to this. And it's why it's really important people understand the facts. We by every county in Alabama, all 67 counties, have to have at least a 10 mil minimum to be able to get their dollars from the state foundation program. So if this is not renewed, then we still have to meet that 10 mil minimum. So those dollars that we're talking about not being able to fund programs, literally, we have no choice but meet that 10 mil minimum. So by virtue of this was put on the books to allow us to meet that 10 mil minimum. And that then allows us to leverage these dollars to get more resources from the state. So it's really important, I think, for all of us to recognize coming together and having more voices, as the mayor said. Mayor Reed, it is so important that we all understand that we don't really have a choice but meet that minimum. This is the tool that we've been using for 40 years to do it, and it has certainly been an effective tool and something we need to continue to do so we maximize the opportunities for the state. Every county in Alabama will have to meet that 10 mil minimum. This is not something we have done uniquely here in Montgomery County.
Dr. Brown mentioned what cuts would be made if you didn't have, what that money is going towards. The specific question is for Pike Road. You mentioned how much money would be cut or affected. What programs or parts of the school will be affected?
Well, it's really simple for us. Again, as a new school system, like the mayor said, each school system has to have that 10 mil max. So we use this 3.5 mils to do that. So it's like I explained to my teachers, we give a little of this to get a lot. So we get about $19 million, of course, from the foundation. Here's how it directly impacts us. I have to replace that 3.5 mils. And as I told you earlier, I can't generate funds, so I have to add existing funds. We will have to pull the $1.2 million from our local sales tax that we receive from Montgomery County. So where does that money go right now? It goes to 7.5 locally funded teaching units, 11 paraprofessionals, and a couple of other programs. So I won't have the availability to have that. That's why I was saying, we gotta look at this as teachers, paraprofessionals, and what impacts the students on a day-to-day basis. So it's very easy for us, it affects people, those 7.5, and again, let me get in a little bit more detail. So those are in excess of what the foundation gives me. So those are the ones that I need extra in some of my special education classes, especially all my paraprofessionals. These are some of my tutors that stay after school and perform intervention every single day for the students that may be a little bit behind. And if I don't have that, it's just devastating. That's what I'm saying. So I can tell you directly where our money goes.
This question is for either Pike Road or Montgomery.
Dr. Brown.
I'm sure a family with children or kids that will eventually be in the school system is like, yeah, here, this is not that much of a pay cut, or money that you're taking from me. But what would you say to somebody that says, this doesn't apply to me, I don't have kids?
I think it's important to understand that strong schools mean strong communities and vice versa. So if we're not willing to do that, we all suffer. When schools begin to suffer, so do property values, that affects other people's bottom lines at home. So despite the fact someone has children in school or not, they are impacted by this. We also want to be in the spirit of understanding that communities are supposed to build with each other and support each other. This is about humanity and how we actually move forward as a people to make sure we're able to take care of the next generation. It's very easy to sit back and pit individuals against each other about certain issues. There's some things we should be on the same page about. And I'm pleased and so fortunate to be among these folks that are actually helping to move this together as a coalition. Because this is not about an individual district. This is not about an individual school. This is about how our community looks long term. And I think it's important for us as citizens who also pay taxes to understand that this is our responsibility to our community and to our community's future. So that's why I think it's that much. It's much more important than simply just $6 a month for a $200,000 house. It's about. I'll go back to what Mayor Reed added earlier about being a return on investment. We're trying to build for the future. This isn't about what tomorrow looks like. This is about what 10, 15, 20, 25 years looks like down the road. And we have to think with that type of vision to be able to determine the right decisions for our community. Going backwards certainly isn't where we want to go.
Let me give you an analogy. So we work hard to find resources to improve infrastructure. So oftentimes you'll have the ability to leverage dollars with the county or with the state, and then you put in 20%, they put in 20%, 40%, and by virtue of putting that together, you get enough money to do your infrastructure work. So let's say you wanted to go after some transportation dollars, Mayor. We can't spread those transportation dollars over every street. We have to pick the streets that need them and go piece by piece by piece. In this case, we're leveraging a little bit at the local level, to get a lot from the state. Those dollars then will be spent where those most critical needs are as identified by our school leaders. But if we don't do that, we don't have the opportunity to fix those issues, just like you wouldn't have the opportunity to fix those streets. And ultimately, you never know when you're going to drive across that street. And here, you never know when you're going to come in contact with the next opportunity that having a better school system is going to provide you with. And in this case, I can't wait to see what can be done as we continue to grow our education level. Everybody in the state knows that Huntsville has the most booming economy. It's not hard to figure that out if you look at the data. And if you look at the data educationally across that North Alabama corridor, all of those school systems are churning. That's what these are the simple little decisions that are made every day by these professionals. But it's one that's really important that we have a role in. And we need to make sure we give them the ability to leverage as much as they can So the way, whatever we're doing, it impacts every single citizen, not just the street in front of my house, every single citizen.
Any other questions or comments?
I got one quick question. Jamal Thomas with Gumtown Magazine. We're going live right now. You all explained the importance of this county tax and everything, but what happens if this tax is not renewed on Tuesday? Like, what's next? What's the plan B?
For us, that would mean, as we mentioned earlier, this expires in September of '24, so there may be some other opportunities down the road, but for us, we start making decisions or making, it's budget time now. We start making decisions about how this money will not be there, which means we're looking to cut programs, or we're looking to cut transportation, or we're looking to cut amenities that we may have that our kids benefit from. So I can't give you a definitive answer today, because we hopefully won't have to have those conversations. But those are things that will be painful for both us to do and for kids to actually experience once they're done. The bottom line is we're trying, and I mentioned this earlier, we're trying to build school districts. We're not trying to dismantle anything. And we need resources in order for that to happen. Going backward is a very tall task to have to confront. But we have to understand that in order to be the preeminent districts that we want to be, we need the resources and support and community effort to make that happen.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So thank you all for being here, and it's a chamber person's dream when you have a partnership like this, all rallied around education. So the closing comment I would make is when you get to the end of that ballot on Tuesday, the last thing is going to be this amendment. That amendment is going to give you two options. You're going to check the yes option, because yes means, and I think the language refers to continuing the renewal of levying of the millage. So you're not just continuing the renewal of the millage. You're going to do that. There's going to be no change in your tax bill, none whatsoever. So you're basically voting to not increase your taxes. That's one way to look at it. You're voting to affirm, as our mayor said, to get ROI, so that our system is producing the workforce that we need, that our kids have a future, and we are on the right track. So it's an exciting time. It's a great time to say yes to Montgomery County. Thank you.